This video is part 3 of our settings series. It's going to go through our remaining settings. Um, Part 1 goes from hardware through used options. Part 2 goes through security and register options. So see those videos if you're looking for information on those sections. Um, Under customer rewards here, you're going to see what the customers who get enough rewards points are going to get. By default, it's a $5 off coupon for 100 points. But you can adjust this. You can make it $0 if you're giving away merchandise for free. The price is something it will charge. Like it might be in order to redeem it, they get the right to buy something so that, price can be set to whatever you need to charge them. If you're wanting to give them money, though, it needs to be negative. Under item maintenance, use price tables indicates that the price table feature is turned on. I won't go into depth on that here. Serial numbers on POs, that's purchase orders, indicates when you're doing purchase orders. If you have serial numbered items, you're going to record when you receive what the serial numbers of those are, and it will appear on the specific serial number purchase order report. Prefixes for new item barcodes and used item barcodes. If these are enabled and filled in, then they will add a prefix to the start of a barcode that has they'll indicate that to the system when you scan that barcode that it's new or used. So if you print a used barcode, even if you have new, even if it's marked as new, like on the invoice screen, if you have used unchecked, when you scan that barcode with the U on the front of it, if you've set that as your used prefix, it'll recognize that you've just scanned a used copy, and vice versa for new. Automatically generate item IDs. That'll, when you add an item in inventory, that'll cause you to have a random UPC that starts with 4 in the item ID box. That's the easiest way to have the system generate numbers for you. That's the way we would recommend doing it. Do not perform initial search when loading item screen. If this is checked whenever you go into the item screen, it is not going to do your default search. This is particularly useful if you have a lot of items in your inventory, just to reduce the amount of time it takes to load up that screen. Disable editing items on grid. This was mentioned in our editing items video. It causes you to not be able to make changes directly on the grid. So it moves it back to the style of older versions of the program. Um, this can make it harder to make changes quickly, but it can make it easier to avoid accidentally making changes. So it's kind of a trade-off. If you don't have permission, like if an employee's logged in and they don't have permission to make changes to items, they won't be able to do it even through the grid. So don't worry about that. After adding automatically search for item and after editing automatically search for item, those indicate that once you save your item, it's going to automatically do a search. That can be really useful if you're looking to print labels right after you add those items. The disadvantage is it clears rid of your old search. Automatic pricing, we talked about this a little in adding inventory. These are the settings where you can set a percentage from your new price and then for your used prices to be, and then from your used price for your trade-in prices to be. If they're checked, they will, and you have the item checked as AutoGen prices, which it'll default to checked if these are on, then those fields will be disabled. So like your used price 1, used price 2 will be disabled from manually editing an inventory, and instead it will automatically create those values. Different cost options. We've got average costing from new and used, and automatically generate cost from retail price. That retail price generate cost, that's done off the vendor discount when you are adding items for the first time. Once you've already got an item in inventory, it won't adjust it further. Average costing for new and used means that as you take in purchase orders, as you do trades, it'll adjust the cost to cover the different amounts you're paying for those products. Under display, show notes when selecting a customer or when scanning an item. If you have notes fields set for those particular customers or those items, it'll pop up for the cashier. That can be super useful for reminders to include cables with an item, for example, or that a customer is, for example, allowed by their parents or not allowed by their parents to buy specific stuff, or that the customer had been a problem in the past, or that the customer had some specific need that they wanted, or anything that your cashier should know when they're getting selected for an invoice. Show department and category and show vendor by number or name. Um, if it's number, it's going to show this short abbreviation. If it's name, it's going to show, in the case of vendors, the company name. In the case of categories departments, just the name field. Your credit card settings, I'm not going to go through these in detail. They're very specific to your credit card process. If you are a new customer and you are doing integrated credit cards, it's going to most likely be the EMV US settings, but you're going to want to contact support for help setting those up. If you're doing an external credit card setting, like just you have a separate terminal, you do it through a separate website, anything like that, Express Manual's the default. Express Manual's what you'll leave it on. It makes it so when you hit credit card in the system, it's just like any other um, tender type, like check or like cash. I knew it. The one thing, if you're doing Express Manual, you'll want to make sure you have that approval from your other system first. You can void out the transactions after they're completed, but that doesn't mean you necessarily want to make it. I would make it a habit to do the authorization first. So we're not going to go into the specific settings on credit cards. It's mostly just making it match what your credit card processor sends over. Um, Gift cards. Allow gift certificates. Gift certificates means that you didn't sell the card through the system and you're just, you check certificate and you fill in the amount and it goes through, same as like a check would. That's useful if you've got gift balance left over from a previous system or if you're giving gift money away, like actual gift certificates to people. Other than that, you're mostly selecting whether you're doing, internal gift cards or you're doing them through one of the processors. Again, contact support for more information on that one. Internet features, these are all pretty specific. We're mostly not going to go into detail on these. The most interesting one here is email. Um, you can set up the system to be able to send email to utilize features such as emailing receipts and emailing reports. Um, we know many of the common settings on these. You can just ask support for assistance on setting these. Um, if you're using any of these other integrations, they're fairly specialized. Um, we will go through vendor databases in the vendor database tutorial. And then your enterprise settings will be in the enterprise tutorial. So if you have any of these other settings sections that you need to fill out, they're all pretty specialized and you should just be able to contact support for more details on those. Usually you're not going to want to just change those without knowing why. So you'll want to just check with that. So most of the settings that you would just want to change because you want to change the behavior are in display or above. These bottom sections are pretty specific stuff. That's going to do it for our settings tutorials. If you have any questions, you can reach out to support at 919-387-7597, extension 101. And if you're a support user, we're happy to help you out. Or if you're looking at the demo, we're happy to help you out. Um, Thank you. Bye.